Disclaimer: this show is not for the faint of heart or the easily offended. The views expressed here are that of the show hosts only, and not their wives, girlfriends, husbands, boyfriends, polygamous partners, employers, music artists, businesses, or anyone other than the Cognitive Dissolutions podcasters. The explicit tag is there for a good reason. Please proceed with caution.
Every one of us will have to decide whether or not we want to keep this great republic or whether we're willing to sacrifice it and surrender it to tyranny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Cognitive Dissolutions podcast, where we address the current issues of today with brash humor, skepticism, or aggression to invoke critical thinking in the masses. We take our tightly held beliefs, everyone's tightly held beliefs, mash them up with current events, politics, and religion, then throw them to the fires of skepticism. We magnify the so-called logic and then blow it all up. There is no green zone of safety for a lack of critical thinking. This is episode number 5. Joel and I will be your hosts today, so sit back and enjoy as we are your tormentors. Today we have a special guest, the band Alchema. Members include Noah, Chris on drums, Aaron H. on bass, and Aaron S. on guitar. Due to unforeseen circumstances, both Aaron S. and Chris were unable to participate for this interview. Before we begin today, I want to point out and apologize for the audio issues. There were some communications issues as well as reception issues. As for the audio of Aaron H., I did the best I could to clean up the audio that arose with reception. Please listen carefully to what he has to say as he makes important contributions to our discussion. As for my audio in the beginning, to include this intro, it had to be recut and entered in during post-production due to some interferences that occurred. To start off, would you both please introduce yourselves, give the audience a little background on how you guys met and how you got together as a band? Aaron, let's start with you.
Yeah, I was band quite briefly, actually. I met Aaron, Chris, Noah through mutual friends, and they needed some help on bass. So I think Wednesday, like 10:30 in the evening, got a call asking to come down and learn songs for a show that Friday. So I went down. I was on kind of a music hiatus. Then when I went there, everyone was cool. The music was really good, and I thought I was in over my head because the music was really good. But I think it was seamless. It went really well. We played our show Friday, and we killed it. And from there, we just, I guess, yeah. I was band quite briefly, actually. I met Aaron, Chris, Noah through mutual friends, and they needed some help on bass. So I think Wednesday, like 10:30 in the evening, got a call asking to come down and learn songs for a show that Friday. So I went down. I was on kind of a music hiatus. Then when I went there, everyone was cool. The music was really good, and I thought I was in over my head because the music was really good. But I think it was seamless. It went really well. We played our show Friday, and we killed it. And from there, we just, I guess the rest is history. I don't really have too much to expand on that. After that, it was pretty simple and straightforward.
Aaron, that was extremely broken. Would you please try again?
Sure. Hopefully this works. But I got a phone call Wednesday night because the band through mutual friends, and I showed up, learned that, had a good time, improvised a couple of bass lines, ended up writing down, brought my notebook with me, learned everything, and we played a show a couple nights later on a Friday, and from there, the rest is history.
Noah, would you give your perspective and how you got together as a band?
Yeah, so I was browsing Craigslist for prostitutes, and I come across a band that was looking for a singer, and I said, you know what? Hell, I'm kind of hungry. I bet we could make some money doing some shows. And I called them up, and they said, no, we're not interested in you, but if you come on down and you sweep the floors, we might let you have a microphone time for a few minutes here and there. And so I did that. We went down, and they played through some songs, and I said, wow, I think I could work with this. Grabbed a mic, started singing, and that's pretty much it. We moved forward pretty fast after that. It was kind of interesting, though, on a serious note. We basically started writing right away, and got a few songs under the belt just to see if my voice would work for their style. And we took those kind of introductory songs and started playing shows almost immediately after. And, the rest is kind of history is in regards to that, yeah.
Hey, Joel, your mic was muted for a minute. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just was moving around, so I thought I'd kill it for a minute. So yeah, I'm good.
What year did you all get together as a band?
I think 2007, if I remember correctly, yeah.
Yeah, I came along in, I think about March of 2007. Sounds about right.
So it was around 9 years ago when you first released Labyrinth online. Is that where you started releasing music, or was it all a stage scene first?
Yeah, kind of what happened with that. Back then MySpace was still kind of popular, so we created a MySpace profile and started playing shows. Seattle at that time had quite a few venues that were pretty good, and certainly a lot of talent up there. And so we ended up getting lucky and being able to play some shows with some local talent, as well as some national talent. And kind of from there, Clear Channel Radio, or I should say Clear Channel, the company, created an online radio, basically, to where not only, first of all, Clear Channel, they basically own the majority of the radio stations across the United States, to the best of my understanding anyway. And they also have a lot of advertisement billboards and such. And so anyway, they created a radio station on the internet, similar to Rhapsody and Pandora, stuff like that. And we submitted our music to that. And unbeknownst to us at the time, we basically released it to all radio stations, since Clear Channel, then had the rights to play them as well. And so we ended up getting national radio play, and I think the first time we realized that we were actually being played on the radio was when we heard it. My grandma was the first to tell me about it. She says, "Oh, I heard that song of yours on the radio," and I was like, "What?" And I didn't think twice of it, to be honest. I thought maybe she was mistaken. And so then I was driving around one day, and sure enough, the song came on the radio, and I was like, "That's really weird." And so that's kind of how that happened.
It took me by surprise when I heard your song on the radio for the first time, because I'd heard them obviously and heard them through Clear Channel, but it pretty much shocked me. I think I texted you that day.
Yeah, I do. I remember that. It was strange because during those days, some of that sounds like it was a long time ago. I guess it wasn't that long ago, but some things were still pretty new in regards to unsigned artists putting their music out there for everyone through social media and stuff. And even YouTube at that time wasn't a resource that was as widely used as it is now. But yeah, we started on the MySpace, on MySpace as well. They had a radio app, and so I think I'd have to ask Aaron Aaron S. and Chris, they'd be better at remembering this, but we were #1 for like 3 months or something in the Northwest for our genre of music on MySpace. And then with Clear Channel Radio, the songs Failure, which tended to be the most popular song of ours, and secondly, Labyrinth. Those 2 songs held top of the charts for like 3 months on Clear Channel.
Yeah, it was Clear Channel's online radio. I did the research before this interview, and even remembering from being part of it, you guys held the #1 and #2 slots in both rock and contemporary adult for 4.5 months straight.
Wow, yeah, that sounds about right. I was pretty impressed, I have to say.
Well, I can tell you, just kind of getting access to you guys recently, I can certainly see why. Very, very impressed. Counting your music is fucking fun as a musician. I got to tell you, it's you guys got some sick whatever signatures and stuff that really cool. So
yeah, thank you.
I dig it.
It's kind of funny the songs that I guess probably that you guys have heard in that the Armour Adorned that demo those were kind of designed. Well, first of all, let me put it this way: they were written really fast. I think we're something in the line of maybe a week, and we recorded them in about the same period of time. Most of which was done in our rehearsal studio, but also a townhouse. And let me tell you, when you're recording drums and screaming and everything else in a townhouse with your neighbors, wondering what's going on, it gets interesting really fast. But we were able to finish that off and compile this demo basically. And in all honesty, it was meant for us to listen back to and just determine if I even worked if my voice worked with this style of music. It was much different than what I have done before. And we went with that, and we jumped right into shows after that because we had this momentum that just came out of nowhere. And unfortunately, we didn't get to focus on the writing aspect as much. We ended up touring mostly after that and playing shows, and then trying to write in between while also developing merchandise and the other usual stuff that bands do to promote themselves. But yeah.
So were you guys generally based out of Seattle? Is that my understanding?
Yeah, Seattle, Tacoma. Yeah.
Cool.
Our headquarters were out of Tacoma, Finley. I think Aaron and Chris, they were stationed in Puyallup, too far from Tacoma.
Yep, that's right.
Interesting. And Aaron, do you have any backstories, anything that sticks out over the past, time that you were together?
From the time that we were together, like I mentioned, it was like a Wednesday night. It was pretty intense. Got to play a lot of good shows. And then before I knew it, I think kind of all from there. Was up and moving down to San Diego, California. Chris, the other Aaron, moved back down to Texas. Or has something going on, one thing or the other. So it's really kind of to say happened in that period of time, contributing. But a lot has happened since then. That's a completely different question, if not comments.
What exactly are you doing now?
What I'm doing now, I've been the type to marry myself to the work. I think when I joined the actually coffee roaster, I roasted for a rather large company. We got macro roaster of the year even, and doing that upon San Diego, I pursued school and work. I got a job at a brewery, got to make guitar, and just kind of explore my potential that way. And so now it's funny that this interview should pop up. I'm kind of at a crossroads. I'm actually back in Washington, reconfiguring myself with what career I want to choose. I just got out of the restaurant industry, working, airport restaurant management, which is a bloodsucker. And so I'm looking back into music, art, painting, and writing, and drawing, all that good stuff. So you hit me at kind of like a critical time over here for myself. But other than that, I just, I'm pretty chill and laid back. I lay low. Nothing exciting, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I think he kind of cut out a little there too.
He did.
Jumping in and fill in for the other guys a bit. I think pretty much all of us have become entrepreneurs, over the past few years. We got Chris, for example. He has a photography business, and he's doing some sort of digital animation type work. Of course, also he's working for a company doing the same stuff. And Aaron, he's keeping busy too. Aaron S, that is down south, the guitarist. He's also recording on the side. Aaron H, up in Seattle, that's also on the line with us. Keeping busy. He's kind of like me, where we both sort of looked into education, trying different pursuits of happiness, I guess you could say, and learning what works and what doesn't. I've been recording my own music for far too long now, and just doing the other hobbies and extracurricular activities. Finally got my studio built, which is pretty exciting. And now that the four of us have been connecting again here recently, after a small hiatus over the years of just life happening, we're looking at recording some new music, which is pretty exciting. So.
Oh wow! So that's a pretty big announcement right now. I didn't even expect that to come up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's very cool.
To be honest, I think I've been kind of the delay. I've been moving far too often over the past 2 years here. Just work's been traveling around and just exploring a bit and all of that stuff. So I haven't really been able to sit down and plug in my recording gear. But finally now, very excited that my studio is almost all set up, and looking at putting some vocals down on some of these tunes that the guys down in Texas now, Chris and Aaron, they've been working on over the past few years. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Looking forward to getting back into recording and writing again. Writing's really the biggest part of the process for me, and I think for most artists. It's where where you basically are able to I don't know how to put it, take your clear piece of canvas and start throwing paint on it and redoing it, and eventually come up with something that you can look at and say, yeah, no, I'm not proud of that. Do it all over again, and then finally have something that you could say, wow, I could listen to that. And then every time you do, you start hearing things you want to fix, and that's just the nature of the artist, I guess.
Yeah, I got to say, just from my own experience, that sometimes having your own studio and all your own gear, you think, this is so great, I don't have to spend money on studio time, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a black hole where you're fucking fixing things for months instead of just putting it out and moving on to the next piece,
Yeah, I don't know. I've been in a love-hate relationship with the engineering side of it. I give the credit to Aaron S., our guitarist, who did a lot of the engineering work on the Armour Adourned. For my own solo projects, I've been doing quite a bit of the engineering, but I found it easier to, two things. One, a lot of times it is good to go into the studio and have somebody else record it for you, because there's some sort of psychological time frame ticker that
urgency
says,
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's going to be done at this time. But it's never good to write in the studio. It's always good to have your ideas consolidated before you go on. And that's really where, I get interested is in the changing and the molding and not being confined to timelines and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's also a curse, because then you find yourself with projects that are never, ever complete, and they change as you change. But yeah, as you said, the technological aspects of it, with computers these days, it's just nothing ever seems to work right. I've moved over to Apple, and I had a love-hate relationship with between Cubase and Pro Tools for my DAW, and these days I'm using. I've been a big fan of Cubase, I should say, but I've been using Pro Tools HD now, and sticking with Apple products, and I just find it's easier for me to hit the record button and not have to go in and start tweaking with drivers and stuff that I usually end up having problems with Windows. So
yeah. So when Alchema was kind of writing, can you kind of talk about that process a little bit? I mean, it sounds like you guys wrote fast, you wrote hard, you got it out. Like, what was that dynamic like with the band? And how was there a leader, or what was sort of the overall how it worked while you were in that mode?
So you always have this concept of the front man or the singer or whatever. The singer typically being the front man, and the front man being the one that carries that orchestrates the band. I just never really liked that paradoxical relationship, because you end up having there's good and bad with it, and it usually causes, in my opinion, a lack of creative flow. And so we sort of ended up creating this hybrid, and I think most of it was subconsciously. We created this entity called Alchema that really is what led itself, where we're asking ourselves, is this something that sounds like Alchema, or is this something, that is this Alchema? And it was sort of the driver and the catalyst of moving us forward in a specific direction, rather than a front man saying, well, no, this isn't what I want to do, or this isn't where I see it going. It's one individual driving it. And keep in mind, a lot of bands, that is kind of how it works. You do have a lot of bands that are sort of supporting the vocals and driving the vocals out there. And if they can find a way to do that without to where everyone is satisfied, I guess you could say, and without having some person just completely shutting out everyone else's creativity, then great. But I found it to be best in my process to just sort of allow it to evolve and just not limit the creative juices. So, for us, writing was kind of weird. Vocals, we tended to have the music going, and we'd throw some ideas out there. We'd kind of work with it, and I would just throw some vocals over it, which are, the only way you can really describe it is like if you're singing gibberish, I'm finding vocal, melodies, seeing what kind of feel the music kind of gives you with the rhythm and everything else, and then also what kind of rhythms I could put on top of everything to sort of change it. So we just kind of did that. We let the creativity flow, and then lastly, the lyrics would come. And how I ended up writing my lyrics for this, I don't think I've written plenty of lyrics in my day, and I don't think ever once have I taken the lyrics and made music for them. I think usually I write the vocal lines, and then I go back and I'm listening to the demo reels of it, and I listen to what's being said, which really is nothing. It's your imagination, right? But the song itself sets the mood, and then you start to kind of write vocals, lyrics, to whatever the music may be. I don't know. I don't know if most people do it that way, but it's kind of how we did it.
Yeah. So it sounds. Oh,
Aaron, are you trying to say something, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm trying to. If you can, I guess try to listen. I know my signal's pretty bad, but another thing that helped too is how prolific everybody was. And Chris, Noah, very prolific. So we always had an ace up our sleeve. So whenever we hit a wall, we were always able to get around that and get through that. And me being new to the band, I had something new to contribute to it. So that also helped too. And it was like a round table situation where, like Noah said, there was no real man, so to speak. We all kind of collaborated and pitched in, and it became, what it was, and that was, I think, one of the stronger suits too.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because it sounds like Alchema has its own kind of anthropomorphic properties. Like it has its own personality to it, and you guys were kind of trying to come together to bring that alive. And I would be interested to hear, like, what is Alchema? What is his or her or its personality? How would you describe it?
Let's go with Aaron first on that, if you don't mind, since he's cutting out quite a bit.
I'm a good candidate to ask because me being the band, I also have the same questions. Okay, what am I getting into? What do we sound like? What's my frame of reference? What's my motivation? It kind of had its own personality to it. I mean, there's elements of metalcore. There's, before it got really popular, that was, you hear a little bit of that in there. Nothing too progressive or anything. It was, I don't know. I would just tie it back into what was previously unique. It really required a lot of thinking to make it its own thing, and I did really appreciate that about it. So I don't have too much more I can expand on that. So I guess I'll pass this on to Noah. He had more intimate relation with the creation of the music.
And Noah, you want to take that up?
Yeah, first of all, I should say when Aaron joined our team, we kind of threw him under the bus right out there where we had a show, like basically right away, and it's like, hey, here's the songs, you we know you can do this. Now you do this because we're playing the show. I don't know how, but he was able to not only memorize the songs in a very short period of time, but also develop performance attributes for them as well. I call them performance attributes. He was able to develop his own style into what we played and change it up in such a way that it was like, damn, I wish we had him earlier when we were recording all of these, And so he came a little later, but really just enhanced the songs, changed them in such a way that made the live performances something we're really proud of. We had some performances where we didn't have a whole lot of time to advertise it, and some of those performances ended up being the best performances, either turnout or just because everybody was on their game, and we let this beast called Alchema come out. And so what is that? It's Alchema kind of starts with when we're trying to come up with a band name, we're like, well, what is this that we're trying to do? And so there's this word, alchemy, and we sort of did a play on words to make that work for us. Really, it just kind of made sense. Alchema, by definition, is sort of the amalgamation, I guess you could say, or the collaboration of everything, all these individual components coming together to make up a whole. And all the components are very different. Each one of us comes from completely different styles of music backgrounds, completely different influences, things we even listen to. And so this beast called Alchema came out, and I'd say the attitude of it, or the personality of it, is one that is just very stubborn, might be the word. It seems to be persistent in its style. It seems to have a direction and a flow that is unaltering. It seems to also really have been underdeveloped. I wish we had a lot more time into the writing process, because the direction we were going was phenomenal. I mean, we had, in the first few months of our existence, it's like everything aligned in such a way that the road was paved and we needed no headlights, So I would say persistent, aggressive, very secure with itself, and knew where it was going even when we didn't. At times, we may have not really knew where to take a new riff that we're playing with or something like that. But the Alchema, if you will, defined that direction for us and gave us kind of a foundation to work off of, and that was just pretty cool. That was a really weird experience, but a cool one.
That's pretty awesome.
Hey guys, my battery's about to cut any second now, so forgive me if I disappear into the ether. I just want to throw that out there, so no surprises.
All right.
I want to throw that out there for Aaron too. Thanks for freezing your butt off up there in Seattle, because I know
definitely
you're
appreciate it.
outside.
Daniel,
Yeah,
did you
thanks,
want to say anything? Did you want to say anything to Aaron before he leaves?
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, how you?
I hope you have a good time. And I'm sorry if you have to leave. It's been really fun spending time with you. But I hope you have a good rest of your day.
No, I definitely will. I appreciate you guys having me. It kind of last minute. Kind of have an interesting time in the center of a Venn diagram where all the crazy stuff may or may not happen. And so I regrettably might have to just drop out just from services, but I'll hang on to you guys as long as I can.
Definitely cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you do have to cut out suddenly, I just want to kind of throw this out there to you. You guys are welcome down the road. We'll touch base again and do this again. I'm having a good time so far. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and if you guys honestly need extra publicity, granted we're a small podcast, but we seem to grow, so we're more than happy to help spread the word for you.
Yeah, no worries. We're gonna have right now we're laying pretty low, I think, with anything related to Alchema, just because it will be sort of a surprise when we come out with some new music for the fans to sort of rehash that, and we're kind of curious to see where it takes itself. Just putting it out there, things seem to grow pretty fast with it when we do, and it's been quite a while, and so it's the least we could do for all of the support that our fans have given us in the past, and we had probably the best fans. I won't even say probably. I said we did have the best fans that any band could ask for. On a support level, they were nothing short of amazing. So it'll
Very
be fun
cool.
to do that.
We just Aaron, but we want to extend, at least I know that Joel will, as well as I do, want to extend an appreciation for Aaron sticking around and popping in, even though he's having some audio difficulties. So
absolutely
appreciate that. And Noah, I didn't mean to cut you off if you had anything further to say.
No worries. I have a bit of reception issues here too, where I'm at. I have nothing but trees around me and no civilization really for about 10 miles. So
that sounds fucking nice.
the fact that you're even here is pretty fucking cool.
These days, with digital technology, it's nobody has to feel isolated by any means.
Absolutely.
That's definitely true.
So I do have a few more minutes though, if you guys had any more questions.
Okay, cool. Can I ask a more of a technical question again? I think the podcast knows, but letting you guys know too. I'm also currently in a musical project. I play guitar and do backing vocals and stuff. And I gotta say, obviously I'm kind of listening to guitar just because that's what I do.
Yeah.
The tone that Aaron gets is so original. What's going on there? What kind of what's he playing through? Do you happen to know some of that?
Yeah. So I think okay. Well, I'll start off first of all. Aaron has many different types of amp simulation, but primarily as far as hardware goes, he has a bunch of different amps as well. And I'm trying to remember what his special little beast was. I want to say, I think he had a 5150 Eddie Van Halen cab.
That's what I was thinking.
I'm trying to think what was driving the cab. It was it was a phenomenal amp, really, really loud. On the Alchema CD, the Armour Adourned, that whole album was recorded. It was mic'd. A lot of guitarists these days are reamping, so when you record, you'll record basically. You'll play live as you hear it, but you'll have a clean signal going back into the recording DAW, and you'll reamp it. You'll basically punch out that signal into an amp, and you'll tweak it, and then re-record that amp basically. We didn't do any of that. He set it up right from the beginning. Got the mic proximities all where he wanted them to get that tone translated onto the tape, if you will, correctly. And it was a big process. He's very, very good with engineering, and he's very particular about his guitar sound. So we're talking hours of work with it. But it was fully mic sound right out of the amp. His own custom little tweakings here and there. Of course, a few effects added later on. I wish he was here to answer that better, because I don't recall exactly what was used. But for the most part, he was pretty much a purist with the guitar and the amping of it. So it was real important to him to get the natural sound out of it, which I think he did a fantastic job.
He did. I mean, his chording just really cuts through the mix so well, and the way you guys complemented frequencies in the mix is very impressive to me. It's something that kind of makes me gets me burning and wanting to tweak things. I currently have my main rig is a 6505 plus, and with just a ton of other shit. And, so I want to search for that tone, not necessarily to duplicate it in my stuff, but it's such a cool tone. I want to be able to fuck with it a little bit.
Yeah. I think his amp was pretty similar to one that I have too, which is a PV Ultra Plus. It's a and for the life of me, I can't remember what the heck he was using, but tube amp. It's really, you get that warmth to it, and you also get that crisp sharpness. But it's really important to have the miking correct, and it's every mic is different, and every location of where you can put it is different. So I mean, I think he probably ended up moving the miking, and of course there's multiple mics set on the amp. There's a room mic, and there's you got a condenser mic that's running in the back as well, and then also an instrument mic. I think it was just a dynamic mic that was placed up close to the speaker, depending on where it was set, would dramatically change the tone. So it was interesting finding that sweet spot to where you're actually hearing the amp as you would live, and he definitely nailed it. So that amp that he used was nothing short of amazing, definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to geek out too much on Al here, but it was just, I had to know.
So, do you have any other projects you want to pimp out right now? Let anybody know where to find you or anything like that?
Yeah, I think probably here in the future, I was set for the end of December to kind of go public with it. So I suppose I'll save it for a future podcast. But I will say this: the back end website is almost complete, and the songs are very, very close to being done. I have to finish up my own changes and re-record a few things, and then what I'll be doing is pushing out my music for somebody else to mix, and then from there there'll be mastering that's done, mastering something that really is we didn't do it on the Armour Adourned, but I would highly recommend mastering for anyone that's putting any music out there, because it polishes it. It gets rid of any clashing tones. It makes it very intelligible when you're listening to, especially rock music. There's a lot of frequencies that can start clashing and sort of take away the dynamic and the integrity of the sound. And good mixing, one, but then also mastering helps big time. So provided I get all of that done here soon, it'll be done before 2016, I hope, and released. but it's going to be completely different than what anyone expects. This style of music that I'm doing now is much different than anything I've done in the past, and certainly nothing similar to Alchema. But
so we can look forward to hearing you on the Country Music Awards or something like that.
I hope so. I hope I can make it there.
Well, once your project is complete and ready to go, you let us know, and we'll get you on that next week podcast, and you can advertise on us, and we'll send it out.
Yeah, cool, man. That sounds fantastic. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for having us on here. Sorry the other guys couldn't make it. It looks like we had a little bit of technicalities. I do know they're kind of remote as well. They're in Texas. I had trouble communicating with them a little bit earlier, so it happens. But we'll definitely take you up on an invitation in the future and share with you guys and your listeners our newest tunes here, and we'll give you exclusive first. So that should be pretty fun.
Oh, hell yes.
Well, that's fucking awesome. And I think Daniel has something he wants to say before you leave here.
Yeah, go for it.
I think that it was great listening to all your interesting and intricate stories throughout the podcast, and you guys are really cool to talk to. And we all hope to check out all your guys' stuff, such as Noah with your music and all of that. Because all that seems super cool to me.
Yeah, thank you.
I guess I could say that you guys should have a good night.
Oh, we will, believe me. I think it's Friday, no complaints. The snow and ice isn't here yet, so what else is there?
Fair enough.
Well, I want to say too, I just to chorus what I said earlier, I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's always good to get these more intimate encounters with people doing this thing, because it's a lot of hard work, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. You guys have just such a good, solid product out there, and I want to hear you all come together again, because I'm really excited about what I'm hearing just from your band in the past. And so good job. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks again, Al, for having me.
Yeah, and we'd like to send out a thank you and an appreciation for Aaron S. and Chris for even being willing to try and come on. And granted, there was obviously some technical difficulties, but we appreciate it, and we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man.
Yeah, well, thank you again, man, and look forward to talking to you guys all here in the near future.
All right, sounds good.
So you think you can break me, but you won't.